I'm doing good, brother. How you doing today?
But hey, it's been a long time, man. Y'all still holding it down. I appreciate. I missed being here with you guys. Thanks for inviting me back. Let's get it going, man. I miss talking hoops with you guys.
For sure, man. We definitely glad to have you back talking about these hoops too. These extremely impressive first round hoops. We're gonna go ahead and start off with the Atlanta Hawks going up against the two seed Boston Celtics. Not a lot going on here. I mean, Atlanta has been a very up and down team. My biggest thing with them, what I said when they beat the Heat to get the 7th seed in the play-in, was maybe we were finally seeing Quinn Snyder's coaching take effect. He was hired in the middle of the season. So, and obviously it takes time. Learn your players, players learn you, exactly what you want to do. And maybe this is the perfect time for them to start showing it because the talent's there. But they go up against the Boston Celtics, and it's not really close at all. Boston had their way with them. I mean, obviously you look at Boston, you look at that duo they got over there with Tatum and Brown, and that's one of the best, if not the best duos in the league today,
Mhm.
right? And coaching just didn't matter what happened with Udoka and everything. Coaching is still good. So I mean, I didn't really have it's there. Atlanta's an inconsistent team. They've been inconsistent. That's what they've shown us throughout the year. I think they can probably get a game out of this. I'm gonna still say I think it goes 5, but based on what I saw last night, they showed me what they've shown me the entire year.
Definitely, Mike. You can touch on it first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, look, to me, that's an incomplete team. Honestly, I just think they're missing a lot of pieces. And yeah, Young and Murray, I don't think they've figured it out. Okay, and I'm not saying two point guards can't play together. One's gonna have to play off. I actually like the idea of two point guards playing together because you got two brains on the court. But I don't know, man. I don't know, and I actually think that. Call me crazy. I actually think that the problem on this team, I think it's Trey. I think it's Trey. But hey, look, Boston, you got a team that's on a mission. They want to get back to the finals. They want to win it. They have the experience. Not much has changed at all with the coaching staff and or philosophy. So, like I said, I mean, like you said, I'm just backing it up. Gentlemen sweep, 5 games.
Yeah, man. I think the Hawks have been an up and down team all season, man. I think if anyone looks, you can see the talent. It's really the same team that made it to the conference finals. You add Murray to that, and you think they only add more talent, but for some reason they can't figure it out. I think
Hmm.
that the team is like an up and down team where it's like we see them lose game one like that, and it may be because they didn't have as much rest, but I can see them winning the game two, and then maybe losing three in a row. You know what I mean? So the team has just been so up and down. I think at one point they were like 15 and 15 in their last like 30 games. So they just been a team that's like 1 minute they look really talented and they can win, and then the next minute they look like they just can't figure it out. So I don't know if they'll figure it out in this playoffs. And then obviously Boston has been kind of just running through teams since last year. So I don't know.
Hmm.
The Hawks are a weird team that's like I can see them winning game two, but I can also see them losing game two and then losing three in a row. So I can see them winning game two and then losing three in a row. And I can see them losing game two and then maybe winning two and then losing two. So like the team's just been so up and down. You kind of don't know kind of what to think of them, but you know the talent is there. You think obviously I said Murray, you think Trey Young, you think Capella, you think Collins. The talent is there. Hunter. It's just they can't seem to figure it out. And hopefully with a full year of kind of Quinn Snyder there, they kind of get things rolling and stuff. But it's an interesting team. It's one of those weird teams that are kind of just like so up and down. That like if they, I doubt they'll beat Boston, but like if they did, would I be super surprised after that conference finals run they made a couple years ago, and then you add Murray to that? You think that they're obviously a better team than the team that made the conference finals? I still don't think they'll beat Boston, but it's like the team is just so up and down that like if they do pull off a crazy upset like that, you're kind of like, I see the talent.
Yeah, You were you gonna say something, Mike?
I mean, I was just looking at the roster as Kay was talking, and I'm a big fan of John Collins, and I think he needs more touches. That's number one. All right, and then I think the type of point guard that look, there's nothing wrong with Murray, and there's nothing wrong with Trey Young, but I think the type of point guard that they need is a type of guy that kind of set the table for those guys. Remember when Chris Paul went to, I forgot where it was.
Houston.
Was it Houston?
Because yeah, that's what we when they first made the trade for Murray, that's what we compared it to. Because I felt like it could work. I never said that it couldn't work. You're just gonna have to stagger them most of the game, which is what they did in Houston.
It's that it was that pickup, and also when Rondo went to Rondo was with the Clippers at one point, wasn't he?
No, Rondo never played.
The
No,
Lakers.
He was with the Lakers.
With the Lakers. No, he was with the Lakers. Yeah,
Rondo's been a couple stops. I think Rondo was even in Atlanta for a little bit.
But in any event, they need a common presence like that, somebody that can set the table. Because I think that Collins needs more touches, and with those two at guard, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. But I don't see them winning any game in Boston.
Yeah,
I think I probably win Game 4, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same as you. I think the one game that I'm giving them is going to be in Atlanta. You can't lose in front of that Atlanta crowd. Maybe you expect one of these Atlanta superstars to pull up and watch you. You can't lose in front of them either. But I mean,
And that's
in terms of
that's the thing I was saying about the team, that if they do pull off an upset, it's kind of like a Miami thing where they pulled off the upset in Miami, but it's kind of like, okay, I can see that happening. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
They have the talent where it's like, I can see that you guys pull off the upset. Like, I don't really expect it, but if they did, it's like, you guys have the talent to kind of do it. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, I think it's going to you can evaluate this team next year once they got a full year with Quinn Snyder under their belt. I disagree with you a little bit, Mike. I think that Trey can be that guy, and I'm not a big Trey Young fan. I like him, but I'm not a big fan of his.
Okay.
I mean, he's great with the assists. At least his numbers say that. So I mean, he can be that guy. Getting to see Murray up close now that I'm down here last year. I've seen him be that guy as well. So I think the biggest thing for them is just getting a year under their belts with Quinn Snyder. Get a camp in right before the season and see what happens from there. But as far as the present goes, my one game with them is definite. I would be shocked if they win Game 2 in Boston.
And one thing that I'm still trying to find out the comparison that I was trying. It wasn't the Chris Paul one. It was another point guard that I'm thinking that's the perfect spot for it. I had to look up where Rajon played, and it wasn't Rajon what I was talking about.
Chicago? Because Rajon is Chicago.
It wasn't that one. It wasn't that one. I don't want to talk about that because if he didn't get hurt, they beating the Boston. They beating the Celtics.
They sweeping the Celtics.
They probably sweeping the Celtics in what 16, 17, whatever it was. But Rajon played 18 games for the Clips in 2020, 2021.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Obviously a stint.
Oh yeah, you right. He did, and then he got traded, didn't he? Because he wasn't even, because we kept complaining about his playing time. He wasn't getting the playing time like that when he was with the Clippers.
That's right. I knew it was with the Clippers, and I'm thinking, why the hell is he getting on the floor? Because that's exactly what that team needed. Because I was comparing it to, remember when it was Blake and DeAndre and them, everybody, and they had and Loud City, they had the point guard, but they didn't have the wing. And then now I remember they had George and Kawhi. They didn't have the point guard, and they finally got it with Rajon. I kept saying that, and he didn't play enough, but that's in the past.
Another series that we definitely had our eyes on coming in was the Milwaukee Bucks against the 305 zone Miami Heat. A lot of people out here were saying that this was Miami's for the taking. We're talking about teams being inconsistent, shell of themselves from a year before. Miami Heat exhibits all of that. They lose the play-in to get that 7th seed in a matchup that I thought would be better for them. Then they go against Milwaukee, who they've had history with. And, I mean, fellas, I thought that Miami was in watching the game. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't pick Miami to win this series. But in watching the game, regardless of what happened to Giannis, I thought they were going to win that game. They looked like they were on their way to winning that game before he went out. Now, the biggest thing here, I got to agree with what everybody else has been saying. A bigger loss in this series is Tyler Hero. Milwaukee's still able to kind of maneuver without Giannis. I mean, Mike, you on right now. Chris Middleton almost shot them back in the game. the other night. Uh, but I mean, they might still be able to hang on without Giannis. You're asking Bam Adebayo to do a lot more without a Tyler Hero on the floor. In some instances, you're asking Jimmy to do a lot more. Now you have to insert a Duncan Robinson who was a DNP, and he's gonna hurt you on the defensive side of the floor. But you got to hope that he's able to shoot it. So just with that being said, I'm gonna still stick with my pick of Milwaukee coming out of the first round, but they did make it interesting yesterday.
Look, man, give credit when credit is due. Everybody knows I'm a Bulls fan, so I'm throwing up in my mouth as I say this. But like you said, the Heat looked good even before he went out. Granted, it was early, what have you. But I never even looked at the box score. You look at the box score, Tyler Hero scored 12 points in 19 minutes. He only missed 4 shots, right? Didn't get to the free throw line. So, number one, Miami's so interchangeable. You can't say for certain who they're going to replace him with. Okay, Gabe Vincent started alongside the three. They went with 3 guard lines. They went Gabe, Strus, and Tyler. So Duncan played. You got to wonder if it's going to be Caleb getting the start, if it's going to be Lowry getting the start, if it's going to be Duncan. If Love, I think keeping Love on the bench is a smart thing to do. I think he's great off the bench, so I don't think they'll do that. But you never know with Spo, right? But they played well. Now, look, this is the thing, and I'm going to go into maybe some basketball psychology. Miami is everybody thinking, oh, they should be tired, another game. It wasn't back-to-back, but they just played 2 nights ago. They should be tired. You could look at it that way. You could look at it as they're already on a roll. Milwaukee has to get on a roll. Maybe they were off for too long or whatever. So maybe Miami has the advantage in that sense. But can Miami score 130 points every game? Milwaukee wasn't defending, right? And you could credit that maybe or maybe not. That had a lot to do with Giannis, their rotations. I don't know. I'm not making an excuse for them. But can Miami keep scoring in the 130s? Is Milwaukee going to keep allowing 130? And you got to kind of wonder if Bam is going to have that. You heard what Jimmy Butler said. He said, look, this is a sign of a great player when you can still affect the game without scoring. And Bam yesterday had what? Boom, 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 boom. Oh, he had 22. I'm sorry. He had 22. What game was he talking about? I guess there was a game that he had like 17 rebounds and like 2 points. I don't know. I heard Jimmy. That was a playing. Okay. But 22, like, we all know what the issue was last year with Bam, and it was him not contributing in big games. But Jimmy 35, Bam 22, Gabe 15, 4 starters in double digits. I just got and 2 guys off the bench in double digits, and one of them almost had 20 in Love. But I fully expect Milwaukee to win Game 2 with or without Giannis. Tyler is the bigger blow to Miami because obviously Milwaukee's deeper. So we got to see what they're going to come out with if Giannis can't play.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Heat have been a tough matchup for the Bucks for a few years now. Obviously, when the year the Bucks won the championship, they were able to get through Miami. But if you look at their like 2 or 3 playoff matchups before that, the Heat have kind of had their number, and they were the first team to start that build the wall on Giannis type of thing. And even if you see the way he got hurt, it was kind of like that build that wall, and he was kind of running through the wall to get that play and kind of hurt his back and get the charge. So Miami has kind of had their number for a few years now, and the one year they were able to finally get over that hump, they won the championship. But obviously, with it being a 1-8 matchup, you expect the Bucks to win, but I think the Miami Heat isn't your typical 8 matchup because they were the 1 seed last year with kind of the same team. And like I said, they kind of had the Bucks number. I think without Giannis, it'd make it tough. I kind of agree with Mike where I expect the Bucks to win that game too, even without Giannis. Obviously, y'all got Chris Middleton. I expect him to step up a little bit, even though he's coming off the injury. I think Drew Holiday will play a lot better. Their defense will be a lot better. I think maybe Giannis going out kind of threw him off guard, and the Heat hit him with the first punch in that game. I think the Heat kind of came out, obviously, like you said, probably had not fresh legs, but they had that momentum going, and the Bucks had like a week off, so he came out kind of legs running already, and it kind of hit him in the mouth first. I think if Giannis was in there, maybe they make a little third quarter run and make the game a little more interesting. But I think we'll see what happens with Giannis, see if he's able to play game 2 or whatever. But I think either way, even if Giannis was there, the Heat kind of had that formula of how to guard Giannis and kind of, what to do with him. So I think it would have been a tough series either way. But obviously, with Giannis being out, changes a lot. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I agree with you guys that I think the Bucks get game 2, but it's kind of a toss up from there, and we'll kind of see how Giannis back is doing.
Who starts in place of Hero? You think, Kay? 'Cause they can go so many ways.
Yeah, there's so many ways. Obviously, Oladipo had his ups and downs and
Didn't he
played
get a
well in
DNP
stretches.
too? He didn't
In
play.
that
He
first
didn't play
game.
game 1.
Yeah, but like you said, the Heat have so many different options. I think Spo, obviously being the great coach that he is, and like I said, Oladipo's had his moments. I think Oladipo, even if he doesn't get the start, I think Oladipo will get more minutes to kind of be the Oladipo that we've shown. Obviously, he's not going to probably be that Indiana Oladipo, but I think the end of the season, the last 2 seasons that you've seen from him when he showed kind of spurts, I think he'll have spurts in this playoff series where, like, he'll get enough minutes in there to kind of maybe fill the void of Hero.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that you guys are saying. It's definitely a wait and see. Game 2 coming up, and I mean, it's just gonna be a fun, exciting week to kind of digest everything that's going on. Now, another matchup in the Eastern Conference, probably the number 1 matchup that you guys want to look out for in the Eastern Conference. Had to hit the music on y'all one time. Got to hit the music when we talk about the Knicks. Go New York, go New York, go. Knicks tape was in full effect last night. Okay, we actually had a couple Brentwood people on Knicks Fan TV after that game 1, which was crazy. But, I mean, the Knicks came out and they handled their business. Me and Kay were on here last week talking about that we thought this was going to be the matchup of Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, very similar to Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray a couple years ago, where they're just going to be trading one after another. We didn't completely get that. I mean, we got a ton of Donovan Mitchell, and Jalen Brunson certainly did his thing scoring. But the biggest thing to me that stood out in that matchup with why the Knicks won is because Jalen Brunson had such a command and control of the game. It wasn't just his scoring, how he was setting everybody up. This guy, I mean, we came on here and we said we didn't agree with the money, not the player. We didn't agree with the money that you gave him. But he was the steal of free agency because of what he's done with the Knicks. And I've said before, and I'll say it again, sometimes it's not about what most people view you as. It's about what one person or one group views your worth as. And to the Knicks, they're getting every dollar's worth because of how he's transformed his team. So that was a big thing. I'm gonna give RJ Barrett some credit here a little bit. Did he have a good offensive game? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Doing a little too much from 3 instead of getting into the paint, trying to attack and getting lane and things like that. But defensively, he did a hell of a job. And you talked about it earlier with Jimmy saying it about Bam. We'll talk about this in the West when we get into the West a little bit. Sometimes when your shot's not falling, when you can't score, you have to affect the game in other ways. And defensively, he was able to do that. Now, Cleveland, it was really the Donovan Mitchell show. Darius Garland wasn't really doing much for them. And then that front court that you expected a lot more from with Dinwiddie and Mobley just didn't give it to you either. I mean, I think the Knicks out rebounded them, which was a little shocking to me because I was expecting Cleveland. I was expecting Cleveland to dominate this series on the boards. Now I could be wrong about that, but it goes hand in hand with what I said when the series started and what I said when the series started.
Guaranteed. Drew Marshall. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
7 games. I told y'all every time we talked about it. I'm gonna stick with it. I expect Cleveland to win game 2. I think we're gonna get a split in Madison Square Garden. The Garden is gonna be rocking. Donovan Mitchell will do what most stars do when they go to Madison Square Garden and set records. And we will end this series in Cleveland on a game 7. And how could you not like that?
Go ahead, Kay.
Yeah, Honestly, impressive win by the Knicks in Game One. I expected the Knicks to play well in this series. I think I said the Cavs in six because I was a big believer in Donovan Mitchell, but I think Game One showed that a lot of those guys on Cleveland haven't been there yet. I think Donovan Mitchell obviously showed up. I think he had like 38, but Darius Garland, Mobley, those type of guys haven't really been in that moment yet. And I think that that moment showed that like the Knicks are justified for giving Jalen Brunson that money. I will be the first to issue an apology that I said you shouldn't give that guy that much money. I'm watching that game down the stretch and I'm like, bro, people, I was ready to fill out the apology form and put it on the internet. Like, yo, we need to start giving out that apology form because if you look at that game, like he deserves every dollar that they got. Honestly, they might have underpaid him. Now I'm looking at the game like y'all might have underpaid the guy. So like he really obviously Julius Randle played really well, but down the stretch it was a lot of Jalen Brunson. So I still expect the Cavs to win this series, but in a very 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 impressive Game One by the New York Knicks. Josh Hart, he hurt his ankle. I don't know if he'll play in Game Two, but he deserves a lot of credit. He hit that big three after hurting his ankle. A lot of tough defense. Josh Hart deserves a lot of credit. Jalen Brunson deserves a lot of credit. Julius Randle deserves a lot of credit. I think the Knicks still need a little more out of R.J. Barrett. I did not 100% like what I seen from R.J. Barrett. Only a Game One. I'm going to cut him some slack. But I think that was a very, very tough win right there for the New York Knicks. Shout out to the New York Knicks. I still expect the Cavs to win, but I think it goes 7 now. But
He's
big
riding
shout out
with it
to the
now.
New York. Yeah, definitely. Big shout out to the New York Knicks. Shout out to Brunson. He earned every dollar that the New York Knicks gave him. I like what I seen from everybody. I just want a little more from R.J. Barrett. I think if R.J. Barrett plays a little better, the game maybe looks a little different.
Just before you go, Mike,
Go ahead.
it's a sprained ankle for Josh Hart. So he's been testing it out. He went into a couple drills and practice with the Knicks. It's a game time decision. He seems like a guy that's if I can walk, I'm going to play. So, I mean, take that how you want to.
If I'm the Knicks, Game 3 is not until Friday. He hurt his ankle on Saturday.
Yeah, I feel
may
you.
sit
I feel
him
you.
Game 2. That gives you like a week of rest and recovery, and I play him Game 3. We got the one win that we needed on the road. I think Game 3 is probably more important than Game 2. I might rest him and play him in Game 3.
Put D Rose in. Put Tibbs. Put D Rose in.
Hey man,
Put D Rose in.
taking my
Put
thunder.
D Rose in.
Taking my thunder, man. You taking my thunder. He's a resident Bulls fan in here. Look, not only did I pick the Knicks to win the series before it started because I know, I wasn't able to get on your playoff preview show, but I did pick them to win the series, just like I picked the Lakers to win the series. But I'm thinking of let's say Hart can't go, and I'm reading the DM that you sent us about Ian Begley. Well, from Ian Begley, Josh Hart has a sprained left ankle. Participated in parts of practice. Status for Game 2 will be determined on how he feels tomorrow morning. Like you said, if I could walk, I'm gonna play. How effective can you be? And are you more of a detriment playing to? Are you more of a detriment to your team if you're playing not 100%? Depends on how bad the sprained ankle is. I don't know. What I didn't consider was what Kay said. Sit him, and then I'm thinking, you know what? It's an option considering who you have, in your back pocket that can probably take Josh Hart's minutes. Rose, who Tibbs loves, obviously. Quickly played 24 minutes. Didn't play particularly well in those 20 minutes. He missed all of his shots. All of his points came from the line. But that's a guy that you can't count out, in my opinion. All right. And so and of course, Barrett, he was kind of a non-factor, but I say kind of because, like you said, Rich, he did have 4 steals and he did have, 6 assists. He was doing, things that he should do whenever he's not scoring. But I could see the Knicks still winning Game 2. Do I think it's going to happen? Possible, whatever. I don't know who I'll pick to win that game, but I could see them going back to New York, whether Josh Hart plays or not, up 2-0. I really do because you look at the guys, the closers of each team. All right, the closers. Is that me? Hold on, let me get
What?
out of this. My bad.
Uh,
I heard something in my ear. So you look at the closers of each team, right? I'm taking Brunson over Mitchell closing. I'm not saying Mitchell's a bad closer. I'm not saying I don't trust him closing. I just think that in terms of closers, I got Brunson over Mitchell. So if it comes down to those two guys, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, 100%. I'm saying put D Rose in. I think we all agree you should put D Rose in. He's probably gonna put Deuce McBride in though, unfortunately. Um, let's go ahead and move over to the West, man. Grizzlies, Lakers. Speaking of them, great, crazy first game one, entertaining, bro. Anthony Davis. I'm sitting. It's like, and every time he falls, you are praying that he's gonna get up. When he was holding his arm, I was like, "You can't be serious right now." It was every time with it. I remember seeing him in a regular season game with a dunk, and he's holding on to the rim. And when he lets go, he starts holding his back. It's just the durability is just not there. Thank God he was able to come back and get on it. But when he said, "I can't feel my arm," I can't move my arm, I was like, "Oh no." This is gonna go south. This is like when they had to play Phoenix all over again. But he was able to come back out. We all picked the Lakers to win that series coming in. Just there's still some inexperience with the Grizzlies, and they don't have with Steven Adams out, you don't really have the size to deal with Anthony Davis on the glass, or even what are you going to do with LeBron? So
Right.
to that, I would just say. Y'all, Memphis, y'all been chirping for the whole year. Y'all haven't done anything. You have done nothing. You haven't even made you've made no playoff runs. You don't even you have no league MVP on your roster. You have no six man of the year. Or you got no six man of the year. You got no defensive play. What are you doing? Y'all about to go home in the first round. And you know who it's on? It's on y'all. I don't want to hear excuses about who you have, who you don't have. Obviously, it's not looking great with Ja. I was picking the Lakers even if y'all had Ja.
Yeah, me too.
The end tail here is, and until you have established yourself, you should not be running your mouth. And that was the whole beef that they had with the Warriors, and why Clay got frustrated with them, and why Draymond was chirping
Yeah.
back and whatnot. Y'all looking foolish right now. And we said it on last show. At the end of it, when this series is over, the thing that we are going to see when we tune into TVs and radio is how bad it looks for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Are
yeah,
you
I'm gonna
taking
cut
on
them.
to go ahead? My bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Nah. I'm gonna cut them a slight slack because they have a lot of injuries. Obviously, Ja got hurt in that game one. I agree with you. When AD went down, I think the Grizzlies went on a run to take a kind of like 6 point lead going into halftime type of thing. So AD is going to be the big difference maker here. Jaren Jackson Jr. played very well in that game one. I think he was like a very difference maker. I think even like Bron couldn't really like
Yeah.
stop him in the
All
post.
these old
So
takes is coming back.
yeah, I think for them, it's just too many injuries. You got Adams, you got Clark, you got Bain didn't even know if he was gonna play game one. You got Ja out now. I'm gonna give him a slight slack because those type of injuries can hurt any team.
Yeah.
It's like their whole starting five is type hurt, but I think it and to what Rich was saying, like you kind of talk so much that like people don't feel bad for you when you hit these type of things. When you talk that type of talk, you gotta back it up, and they did it for the most part. But like things like this happen to everyone. Man, I'm a old school Thunder fan, man. We dealt with so many injuries and different type of things that happen to us. So no one's gonna feel bad for you. Kind of got to figure it out. So we'll see how it goes moving forward. I think AD's gonna obviously be the difference maker in this series. I think if you look at the time that he went out and when he was in,
Yeah,
completely
no
night
answer
and
for
day.
him.
They have no answer for him. Jaren Jackson Jr. obviously would be the answer, but you want to keep him out of foul trouble, and then there's still Braun. So I think it's unfortunate for what happened with the Grizzlies, but sometimes when you talk that much, unfortunate things happen to you.
Well, I'm gonna bring up the Boston Celtics, and the resident New York Giants fan is gonna be able to know what I'm talking about here. But the better team might be, and I say might, you'll see why, might be the Grizzlies. Okay. But we all know the better team doesn't always win. It's the team that has got it going on at the right time, the hottest team. Celtics turned it on last year, were amazing in the second half. The Giants won their first Super Bowl, not their first Super Bowl, but that first matchup against the Pats. They were the hottest team in the NFL. They got hot at the right time, right at the end of the season. The Lakers are 17-8 since the All-Star game, since the trade deadline. I believe that's the best record in the league since the trade deadline, 17-8. And that matters. That matters when you finally get it at the right time, and that's what's going on. Healthy Memphis Grizzlies or not, I picked the Lakers, but now more so than ever. Josh said he couldn't even grip his clothes to put them on. That's what he said in an interview in the locker room in the post game. He said, I'm not even using it, you know. He said the pain is at a 10. I don't even think they gave him an official diagnosis. I don't know if it's broken, sprain, whatever the issue is. And it's a shooting hand, right?
Yep, it's a shooting hand.
That's a problem, man. That's a problem. So look, I think the Lakers got it going on, and more so than matchups or anything, I just think that is, you know, you said AD, and you're not wrong about that, but the fact that they've been playing well for close to 30 games, I hold that with a lot of it holds a lot of weight with me, and they got experience, they got a good coaching staff, a smart coaching staff, so. We'll see, man. If Memphis doesn't win game 2, it's not looking pretty for them, and I don't expect them to win game 2.
Yeah, the biggest thing why I can't cut him slack, like now Ja's out. Now it's next man up mentality. Dylan Brooks, are you gonna be that guy? Are you gonna be that guy to step up and do what you got to do? Because the biggest voice in the room has been you. So are you gonna step up and get one? I seen what y'all did against the Warriors last year. Can y'all do that against the Lakers without a Ja, without a Steven Adams? You know, Desmond Bane, like we said, it was a game time decision. There's a lot. Clark, a lot of things going on there, but we're not gonna feel bad for you. Just straight off of that. You were talking a lot. Let's put up or shut up now. Okay, who's gonna step up? Who's gonna get one?
Yeah, I love Dylan Brooks, bro. He shot 40% from the field for the whole season. He's not
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm sorry. Like, I think if you still had Steven Adams, I think Steven Adams, and I said this on this last week, is a big loss for them.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you still have Adams and you still have Tyus Jones, who's like one of the best backups in the league right now. Mm-hmm. You can see they can play the way they played last season against the Warriors without Ja. Dylan Brooks being your number one. I love the guy, hard on defense, but like 40% from the field is tough.
I don't like the guy.
40% from the field is tough, man. In the playoffs, it only gets tough. And then you think about, bro, they're playing Bron. Bron has picked apart teams in the playoffs by himself, man. It's just too much time for a guy like that who's been to 10 finals to really like dissect your defense. Mm-hmm. And the Warriors, and I would give the Grizzlies credit. They played real tough in that game 1. And you think if Rui Hachimura doesn't get 29 and lead the team, Austin Reed's playing like he's Allen Iverson in 2001, that you think the Grizzlies may still win that game. But I think that goes back to like everyone wanted to blame Westbrook, but the Lakers traded a lot of depth to get Westbrook, and it just shows that you still need that depth to win playoff games, because Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves won them that game, and when you trade your whole bench away for one guy, you don't win those games.
Right. Yeah, and just talking about that too, like depth. What was it? Desmond Bane post game was saying, "Oh, let's see if he can do that for the whole series." He doesn't have to. Rui Hachimura does not have to do that for the whole series. He did his job. Exactly. He got the game. Exactly. Now it's time for Anthony Davis. What are you gonna do? There's no accountability over there. None.
Right, and it sucks for them because they have so many injuries that I didn't pick them to win this coming into the series. And like you said, there's no excuses. When you talk that much, there's no excuses. But
and my thing is go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
Is it really the whole team talking, or is it just Brooks? Because that dude just look, I like Memphis as a team, but he makes me just want to see them lose all the time. Like the dude, I'm not gonna sit here and say he's bad for basketball, but he ain't good. I don't think he's good for basketball. I just think he's a jerk, and a lot of things he does a lot of unwarranted. Look, put it this way: I think the worst of Grayson Allen, the worst of Dylan Brooks, Brooks was got it worse than Grayson Allen.
I I would never knock a guy for playing hard, but I agree with you, Mike. Like, there's always a limit to what
Yeah,
you say and what you do. So I can see why people feel some type of way. And to me, you got to back it up. You're not talking that much and shoot 40% from the field. Like, that's, no, absolutely positively not. Like, you feel me? You gonna talk that talk, you better walk that walk. And 40% from
yeah,
the field is not walking that walk. And I tweeted this the other day. Maybe as a KD fan growing up, I'm used to people shooting 50% from the field, stuff like that. But still, even AI in his worst year didn't shoot 40% from the field. So absolutely not.
no.
Yeah, you can't do that, man. Um, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if they could win another game without Ja. I'm gonna just be
And
real with you. I don't know. I don't know.
and Brooks is like a third, fourth option. Shooting 40% from the
Exactly,
field as a third, fourth
Yeah,
option is not acceptable.
exactly.
I'm
they're gonna.
sorry.
Jaron Jackson's gonna have to be Superman if they're gonna win another game. And I'm not. He's not. He's been playing very well. He's been playing very well, but I don't know if he's got enough in the tank to hold them down. And I like
But
him a lot.
I
the
like
thing
him
with
too.
me with him is foul trouble. Does he have enough in the tank? Debatable. Can he stay on the floor long enough? That's where I don't trust him. Game one, he was able to do it, but you look at the last year's series in round one and round two
Hmm.
against Minnesota and Golden State, he just couldn't stay on the floor. Even
Right.
like halfway throughout these last two seasons, he just can't stay on the floor because he's always in foul trouble. So my problem with him is like, I don't know if he can do it or not, but I know that he's never shown us because he can't stay out of foul trouble.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Good point.
100%. I'm gonna be honest, fellas. I got no take on this next series. This might even be a sweep. That was the worst playoff basketball I've ever seen in my life from a team. I got Nuggets advancing in this one, 4 games. That's it.
Man, I thought Minnesota really had a chance. I think when you have two twin towers out there like that, I think that really helps you when you're playing against a team like the Nuggets, where Joker is dominating in the paint like that. You have Aaron Gordon, but he's not the greatest shooter, so I feel like you can pack the paint a little bit. I felt like Minnesota put up a better fight. They're slightly a little younger, so from what I seen last night, it's not looking too good, but man, I don't know. I feel like Minnesota should have more of a fighting chance. So I'm gonna give them what you say, Rich, 5.
I'm going
Man,
4 now. I
oh
got I got I
man,
got the Nuggets in 4 now. The thing with them, you can't. Yeah, you paired up two twin towers together, but neither of them are like those guys. We
but
said it when they made the trade.
I don't need them to be those guys offensively. I need them to be those guys defensively. When you're thinking about the Joker, I think Rudy
Bro,
Gobert should make you so you don't have to double that guy.
they were getting bullied. They were getting bullied by Jokic last night.
And that's where it's unacceptable. That right there is unacceptable.
Yeah.
I did not make that trade and give up 5 first round
Hmm.
picks for Gobert
That.
for him to be bullied in the paint in a first
Yeah.
round series against. I mean, obviously 2-time MVP, great player, but with him and Karl Anthony Towns, I feel like we should have more than
That's what he
enough to
getting. Yeah,
stop this
yeah.
guy in the paint for him to do what he does. Jamal Murray goes off. Michael Carter Jr. goes off. Even Aaron Gordon goes off. Hey, you tip your hat to them. Good series. You guys did what y'all was supposed to do. I have 2 twin towers. Joker, 2-time MVP, great player. Should not be the guy who kills us.
Yeah. Like, look, I don't care who wins this series, and I don't care how they win the series. But I'll tell you one thing: Minnesota should be winning the battle on the boards every game, win or lose. Okay. Now I get it. Gobert and Towns ain't going to be in there the whole game, and maybe one of them at a time, whatever the case is. But they shouldn't be losing the now. Me saying that they won. Oh, it was 38-54. They lost the boards battle to Denver 38-54. And oh wait, hold on, wait. Yeah, 38 to 54. And offensive rebounds, 11 for Denver, 5 for Minnesota. Look, if you're gonna have a chance against this team, you got to rebound. And with those two guys in the lineup, yeah, that's what you got to do at the very least. And I mean, do what you can to get Ant some more touches or whatever the case is. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you with the way they looked offensively. Why not throw Austin Rivers in there? Because I mean, at least he's instant offense. He only had 16 minutes of offense. I mean, of game time. And with a guy that is as streaky as he is, he's probably gonna need more than that. I don't know, but I'm thinking it's already time for a lineup change. Like right now. Like whatever you got to do, you got to do it. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's more minutes or if you change that starting lineup, but they can't be losing the battle on the boards 54 to 38. Come on now. No.
Yeah, yeah. And it calls for it. Like you have, as a coach, you have to make that lineup change. Like Spoelstra saw what happened against Atlanta, immediately made a lineup change. When you have a game like that, I'm sorry, like
Yeah.
you still gonna play, but you got to come off the bench now.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it has to happen. One thing before we move on to the next series, I said that Memphis didn't have all these things. They do have a defensive player of the year now. Jaren Jackson Jr. just won it. So y'all got a little help. Y'all got a little help. All right. Let's see if y'all can get something done with the
Like that.
defensive
Well
player of the
deserved.
year on your team.
Well deserved.
Uh, Clippers.
Wait, before we move on, definitely well deserved. The problem with him has always been staying on the court. His defense, 3 blocks a game this year, I think led the league. His defense has always been there. He just can't stay on the court because he's always in foul trouble.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think
agreed.
even back to the Minnesota series, which is something different, I think Minnesota's probably the team to match up perfectly with the Joker. You have two twin towers that can pack that paint for him, but I don't know. I think we'll see how the rest of the series goes. Obviously, you don't want to react too much to a game one. I've seen people win game ones and lose the series. I'm a Thunder fan. We won game one in Golden State, and man, we lost in 7. So anything can happen.
Yeah.
Clippers versus Suns. We said last week that this was the series to watch for, not just in the West, but the entire playoffs. Now everybody's like, they don't got Paul George. They don't got a chance. Of course they have a chance. And I said it on last show. I'm not going to go into the whole history spiel like I did last show when it comes to Kawhi Leonard and who this man is as a player. We just going to say he's him. He's that dude. He impacts the game both sides of the floor. Definitely made it tough for KD, although you can't nobody shuts down KD. He still gets his off. Storyline, even though Kawhi did his thing and was able to really win them this game, our guy, Russell Westbrook, we have been on this show and we have been saying it for years. Y'all want to talk about his shooting? He's not a shooter. Well, we said this year, especially with the Clippers, still not a shooter, but he's having a career year from 3. Again, not a crazy deal, but for Russ, it's a big deal. You got to pay attention to him on the arc now. He shot 3 for 19 last night. And you know what? Nobody cares. You know why? Because he still won that game because like he's been saying and like we've been saying, he impacts the game in different ways, especially when his shot is not falling. Mike, you said it earlier. The Clippers, a couple years back, they had the wings, but they didn't have the point guard. This year, same exact problem. Needed a point guard, needed a floor general. They traded for Russell Westbrook, and while a bunch of people in the media was poo-pooing about it, I said this is the best move that they could make because he is exactly what you need on this team. And that's why I picked them to win this series and why I said they can win a championship. Bro, assists, blocking, rebounding. He was doing an amazing job on KD when you were throwing him on there. And then he pretty much made the game-winning play. Come on, man. You couldn't ask for anything more. I think that the Suns will win game 2, but I'm not deviating from my pick. I think it's still gonna go 7. And I'm taking the Clippers. I'm taking the Clippers.
Man, look. Y'all know how look in the little chat that we got going on Twitter. What did I tell y'all after their trade with Russell Westbrook? And y'all, it's probably not going to happen. But if the Clippers make it to the NBA Finals, Russell Westbrook is winning the NBA Finals MVP, and I'm sticking to that. Like everybody wanted to crap on this man, and I'm just thinking, why? Like, look, who was it that said it was either somebody on the Lakers coaching staff or a player? May have been Anthony Davis. I can't remember who it was, but they said that we tried to make Russ a shooter. You can't do that. That's why he stunk in that offense. They try to make him 3-and-D. Come on, why?
That and who
You
was he
you
playing
you.
with?
Thank you. And I mean, look, his stat line. You said it. 9 points, 3 and 19. Didn't do anything. Too crazy offensively. Did have 11 boards, 8 assists. Okay, cool. He damn near had a triple double. He shot 3 of 19. His The pace in which he plays the game is what always makes him a threat. I'm sorry, but if you got a guy coming at you 100 miles an hour, whether he's out of control or not, he's gonna make some decisions, or whatever. You talking about a basketball player that's been there, done that. Former MVP could walk in triple double in his sleep. I'm sorry, but I do think that they're gonna need Paul George to win this series. I hope I'm wrong. I hate when injuries happen, man. I hate when injuries happen. That being said, I won't be surprised to see them win the series without Paul George, okay? Because of Russ's attitude, because of Kawhi, and because you got a coach that's been there, done that too. They got a smart coach on that bench. That dude, that man, Mr. Let Iverson step over me after a crossover. You got to give him. He makes adjustments,
Oh
and I
yeah,
like
oh
him,
yeah.
but um,
I think
I
that's
don't
what's
know
gonna win
what.
him. I think that's what could win them it too. I think that he's gonna continue to coach circles, and I love Monty. I think Monty's a great coach too.
Yes, he is.
But Ty Lue is just a notch above him.
Mm-hmm. I got you. But this is an exciting series. I don't know. This is one of those series that I couldn't pick one. Like, I didn't know who to pick because it could go out. It could literally go either way. I wouldn't be surprised to see Clips winning in seven, Suns winning in seven, or either of those teams winning in six. But um, yeah, that's how I feel about the series. I think Russ is a factor. He's going to be a problem.
Yeah, man, I agree with a lot of the things that you guys just said, man. This is a conference final series in the first round, man.
Mm-hmm.
You think you can see both of these teams in the conference finals? Man, it's tough, man. Shout out to Russ, man. After all he's been through, you guys know how big of a Russ fan I've been, man.
Yep.
That block and tip back to knock it off of Booker was a big play. Obviously, you think about someone that shoots 3 for 19 and doesn't have maybe the greatest game. He hasn't had the greatest games in the playoffs where teams kind of zone in on him and let him shoot and things like that. But to stay focused and stay locked in and stay just with the process, man, that is real tough, man. So I think I seen a lot of people tweet like that's the greatest 3 for 19 performance they've ever seen, and like I gotta agree, man. Like that block and tip back on Booker, man. Booker is a great player. That's not a slight
Yeah,
block, man.
you don't just
That's
do that.
yeah, that's what I mean. You don't just do that and then tip it back off of him, man. That's great, man. So shout out to Russ, man. Well deserved, man. I think the Suns, to get on their side of things, man, they're looking old, man. D Book is looking, obviously he's young. Aiton's looking young, but Chris Paul obviously campaigned, didn't play last night. I think Chris Paul's looking, his age is really, really showing, and I think it showed in the last two playoffs. Man, I've seen KD play since he was like 19 years old, man. He had 25 and 11 and 9 last night, man. He's KD. He's gonna be KD, but he's looking a little old, man. That step is not as quick as it used to be, man. So I think the Suns are looking a little old. The Clippers are Westbrook, even though he's getting up there in age, he still has the energy. He's looking younger than Chris Paul. Just to call it what it is. So I think, and then you got Norman Powell coming off the bench. You got Bones Highland coming off the bench. Those guys are coming in with a lot of energy. The Suns didn't play their bench a lot last night, man. T. Ross only had like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
I think, I forgot what the guy's name is, man. He had like 26 minutes, and he hasn't played all season.
Shamit.
No,
I like
Shamit did
I
have
like
26
Shamit.
minutes. It is Shamit. It's not the other guy who came in for Bismack Biyombo. He had like 15 minutes. He hasn't played like all season, man. Shamit was the one who had the most minutes off the bench. Yeah. But the other guy, he hasn't really played all season, and he got like 15 minutes. So I was looking at the box score after the game. That Suns bench is not looking great, man. Even T. Ross only had 6 minutes. And then I look at the Clippers bench, man. There's some young guys, Terrence Mann, Norman Powell. Those guys are coming in, picking up full court. Them guys are coming in, playing hard and things like that. Like I said, KD's going to be KD. He had his 16 and something tonight. But it's going to be Ayton it's gonna be D Book. Those guys, those young guys, are gonna have to get them through this series. And man, shout out to Kawhi, man. 38 last night,
Yeah.
man. Coming off the injury, he missed last year's playoffs. And I seen a tweet where it's like Kawhi looked KD and D Book in that fourth quarter in the face and said, "Man, I'm still him." And that sums up that fourth quarter, man. He came out 38, two big threes. Shout out to Russ too, getting those two big offensive rebounds and get those to Kawhi for threes. But Kawhi looked those guys in the face and said, "Man, he is who we thought he was when he was with the Spurs. He is who we thought he was with the Clippers." I still think the Suns have a great chance, a good chance. I wouldn't say great chance. I think the Suns aren't out. That's what I want to say. I think the Suns aren't out. Of course. But man, Kawhi, that's a tough guy, man. That's even around this time, man. That's a tough guy.
I mean, what did everybody say after they made the trade? Everybody was worried about their bench. Everybody was worried. Their bench was gutted. Everybody was worried about their bench.
Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges. You gotta have depth in this league. And that's one of the other reasons why I looked at it with the Monty Williams can't go to his bench. He doesn't have the options to do that. They're just going to attack it all day. If you look on the sidelines with Ty Lue, if he sees Monty going to his bench, he's salivating over it. He's ready to go. He's got a game plan in action. The Clippers are the deepest team in the league. The two things that win championships: defense, number one, depth. You got to have depth. We can't get stuck on all this star power and things like that. I mean, people want to go, look at the Miami Heat. They got rid of all these guys and put that big three together. No. They looked at all the options on the table that were there, and they were able to bring in depth on minimum contracts. That's my biggest thing with this series. I don't think coaching, I think the Clippers got it. I made my whole spiel about Kawhi last week because you had to bring up the Spurs-Warriors conference finals when he went out because look what I hate when people bring up the Toronto title and they say, "Oh, if KD and them didn't get hurt, Toronto would have been fine." I think Kawhi is that dude, bro. Kawhi is that dude, and I think that my number one. I love Russ, and I think he's going to contribute. But my whole thing with picking the Clippers, that man right there.
There's another side to the Clippers, the Suns and their lack of depth. What they do have is a lot of experience, right? And you need that to win a championship because ain't no young team. Name me the last young team. Talk about young team, 100%. They won a championship. I'll wait. You know, so they got you do need experience. They got that, but they just gonna have to play a lot of minutes. Look, KD played 45 minutes. He had 45 minutes. Craig 27, 8 and 33, Paul 39, Book 43. And that's just, you look at their bench, and yeah, you had Shember with 24, but everybody else didn't even get 10. So I think that's the tall tale right now. And I think that's going to be that might do it. And let Russ have I don't want to say good game because he didn't have a bad game, but let him have a good offensive showing. This ain't going to be no 115, 110 game like it was in game one. You know, and then like you said, they interchangeable parts. For me in the playoffs, you said it. Yeah, those two things. Depth, interchangeable, and defense. But for me, it's always been three things up until recently. Defense wins championships. You gotta score in the half court in the playoffs. Okay, you gotta score in the half court. You gotta rebound, and you gotta have interchangeable parts. The Suns don't have that. The Clips do.
Yeah, 100%. Man, definitely. Like I said, the Suns, what I seen from last night, man, they're looking a little old in certain positions, man. But
yeah,
I think this series rides on D Book, man. D Book has to be that guy for them. KD's gonna be KD. You know she's gonna get at KD. 26. He had 11 last night, 9 assists. Or 11 assists, 9 rebounds, whatever it was. KD's going to be KD. I think D-Book is that young spring chicken who has to come out and assert his will on this season. He's even younger than Kawhi, and Kawhi coming off a few injuries. With PG out, I don't think they have an answer for D-Book. D-Book has to be that guy. And I think maybe getting Cameron Payne back, another young guy, help the Suns. But, man, shout out to the Clippers for that game one. Shout out to Russ, man.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
After what he's been through, man.
Yeah,
shout out to Russ.
Man. I'm glad he's shutting people up. I'm so happy. I'm
I want
sweating.
I want that all LA matchup so bad, specifically because of him. Because a lot of people who were rooting against him on the Lakers, y'all about to look real foolish, real
Yeah,
foolish. I
man. And
seen
how about people in the, I don't mean to cut you off, but how about people in the national media that should know better? You talk about basketball heads, man. Like, come on, you talk about Russ Westbrook. Since when? Since when is he a bad basketball player? No, no, I don't believe that. No, no.
yeah, yeah. I couldn't get with that at all. Then the people that made there was the one what they called him a vampire or something. That was trash. That was trash.
Yeah.
You know the other crazy thing because we running short on time, so we're gonna get out of here in a little bit. But before we move on to our predictions for tonight, Clippers haven't. The scary thing here is Clippers haven't even learned his passing style. Yeah, I don't know if y'all seen the video where they were talking about like one of those passes that he made to Kawhi, where he was still able to catch it, but he wasn't ready for it. Just imagine how scary this team is once they really
Figure that
figure
out.
each
Yeah.
other out.
What's Paul George's diagnosis? Is he there for the playoffs or just his series?
It'd probably just be this series. They
Okay,
get through this series, he'll be back.
good.
Maybe
I
they'll
think
get lucky and he can come back late in this series. But
I think the official diagnosis is a right knee sprain. He's already been out like 2 to 3 weeks.
I saw it and it didn't look good. I saw the replay and I was like, dang, he's lucky that that's all it is because that play didn't look good.
it was a hyper extension. That thing was
Yeah,
ugly.
man, it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, but I seen him, and then he was in practice and doing shoot around and stuff. He's hitting
Good,
jumpers and everything now, so
good, good.
that'd definitely be good to see. I'm rooting for him, man. I think the only reason they haven't got a return on investment is injuries. It's not that the players haven't been
Yeah,
showing out. It's straight injuries.
yeah, man. Listen, that his injury is giving that team incentive to finish this series in 4 or 5 because the more rest for him, the better you're looking.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So tonight we got the Philadelphia 76ers and the Brooklyn Nets squaring off. That game is in pregame right now, getting ready to start up in a bit. And then we got part two, Deuce, Sacramento Kings, Golden State Warriors. Another one that we're going to talk about that when we get into it. Let's start off with the 76ers versus Nets. 76ers had their way with Brooklyn game one. Big Joe, MVP, bro. MVP. This man was getting traps. You know the type of players you trap in the league? MVPs.
It's
You
yeah.
he come on, man. The debate is over. The debate was over when he scored half of the Sixers points in a regular season game. But I'm gonna still give Brooklyn 5. I think that they take one in Brooklyn. I think Mikal Bridges is the one that gets it done for you. I don't know what Jacques Vaughn was talking about yesterday or 2 days ago in his press conference when he was talking about like foul calls and things like that with Embiid. You gotta stick to the plan, bro. No complaints here, and hope that y'all don't get swept. But I got to go on 5. Not only do I got to go on 5, man, I think they finally get past the second round.
Mike,
I can see
I'll
it being
go.
6.
My bad,
Go ahead,
Mike.
go
I'll
ahead,
go
go
quick
ahead.
with this one because I got to go on like 5 too. I think Brooklyn, obviously after the trade, man, great player, good players that they brought in, play hard. I don't think they have enough to beat Philly. Obviously, Joel Embiid probably MVP this year. James Harden bounce back year after everyone thought he was knocked off, but
Right.
I think I'm kind of on the same thing with Rich, man. I think Brooklyn comes in, has a great game at home. I think Spencer Dinwiddie is the difference. I think you know what you're gonna get out of Mikal Bridges at this point. He gave you 30 in that game one. Spencer Dinwiddie didn't play the great. If he plays the way we know he can play, he's had great games, playoffs, regular season. Sometimes seems a little unstoppable. If he comes out and plays the way he can play, they'll get that one game that I think they'll get. But I'm saying Philly in 5 too.
I hated how I just hate knee-jerk reactions. Period. Oh, the Nets are gonna suck. Oh, Rose is done. Oh, DeMarcus Cousins is done. I hate knee-jerk reactions, and as sports fans, I think that's the most irresponsible thing we can do. Let it play out first. How many times have you seen? Look, we were just talking about Russ, and he's shutting people up. I said all of that to say the Nets are not a bad team. I got this going 6. I gotta go in Philly because at the end of the day, I don't think Brooklyn has anything for Embiid, but I can see them winning back-to-back games in Brooklyn. I can see that. whether they take game 2 or not, I could see them winning 2 games in a row because this is a young team. I'm not gonna say they haven't been there, done that, because they got guys who've been in the finals, but a lot of these guys are wide-eyed dudes that is just like, oh shoot, and that's sometimes that's the worst kind of team to play. You know what I mean? But they're not supposed to win. Okay, they're at the same time they're not a bad team. Yes, they had a lot of nice. They out of their over their 45 wins. Obviously, majority of them came before the trade, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this series end in 6 in Philly's favor. I wouldn't be surprised to see it end in 5. But I got Brooklyn winning 2 because, Bridges, Dinwiddie, like you said, if Joe Harris has a good game, where's his shooting? He only connected on he had 14 minutes. We expect him in those 14 minutes to contribute more than 3 points. That's a guy that you can't leave open. You know what I mean? And I have to admit, I didn't watch this game. I saw maybe a little bit of the second half. But just going off of what I know by both teams, that's what I'm spitting on right now. And I'm gonna need to see me some more Joe Harris, and also nice game for Curry coming off the bench. But that's your guy off the bench, and I think that he's gonna have to contribute maybe even more. Maybe we see a lineup change. I don't know. That's a guy that can start. That's a guy that knows Philly's roster. So we'll see. But I'm picking Philly in 6.
All right. I'm not mad at it at all. We'll definitely see how this thing plays out as the week goes on. The other matchup tonight, the Sacramento Kings against the Golden State Warriors. I think we were all a little bit shocked that game 1 ended with a Kings win. It was a great game by both teams. I saw something funny. I forgot who it was. Where right after Curry missed the shot, someone on Twitter said, "Where's Max's?" Oh, I think it was actually Nick Wright. He said, "I need Max's. I want Andre Iguodala video." You know what, man? I kind of broke it down last week's show about how I thought the series would go. I think it's gonna go 6. A part of me, honestly, wants to switch up and take the Kings, but I'm still going to stick with the Warriors in 6. I think that, like I said, I think Sacramento already took care of home court game 1. I think they'll be able to do that again, and it closes out in Chase Center. I really don't know if they can win a game in Chase Center. Those two games, the game 3 and game 4. I think that environment might just be too much for those young boys. Experience is a big thing in this league. People have been talking about last dance with the Golden State Warriors, and that could be true, but I don't see it ending here. I don't see it ending here. As much as I love what the Kings doing, and that's a team that you're gonna have to look out for years to come. Yeah. But this ain't it. This year ain't the one.
Shout out to whoever had the Kings being this good in the beginning of the season, because I sure as hell didn't. You know what I mean? I had them probably sniffing the bottom half of the playoffs or whatever, but I didn't expect them to be this effective. So it's good to see. Especially Fox. I mean, Mike Brown, I love the story. You want to know what this series reminds me of so far? Or even coming into the series without having a game played? Boston last year in the finals, in which Golden State lost game 1. We're at home, okay? I expect them to win game 2. And guess what? If they don't win game 2, I expect them to win at least game 3, right? Maybe even both at Chase. But what won that series last year in the finals? Yes, Golden State was a better team. They were determined. It was that championship medal, all right? It was that championship resolve that won them that game because, and obviously, Steph proving people wrong, saying that he can't do it or whatever. Steph had a big series, and that's what I think is going to get them through now, okay? Did Wiggins play? Wiggins played, right?
Yeah, Wiggins played.
That's part of the reason why they were so bad this year. He had time off, and yes, they were on the road or whatever. So people say, well, when they were healthy, they didn't look so good. They were together. Yeah, but still, that's give them some time. It's the playoffs. It's a whole different season. I got the Dubs in 6.
Yeah, I was high on the Dubs, man. I thought the Dubs might sweep them. I want to give the Kings some credit, man. That game 1 was a real. Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, man, the fourth quarter, they had some tough 3-pointers to the back and forth, man. So, De'Aaron Fox, DeAndre Monk, man, I want to give those guys a whole lot of credit, man. I did not expect them to come out with that game 1 dub. I'm on the side with Rich, man. The game 2 is really going to be the difference maker. I don't see the Kings going into Chase Center and getting a dub. So they got to get this win tonight. I think this win tonight maybe pushes it to 7, maybe 6, but who knows. I was on the side of the Warriors winning, and I'm going to stick with the Warriors. I say Warriors and maybe 6 now. I think the Bonta Simonis has to play a lot better. I think Draymond played him very well in the post. But we'll see what tonight holds, man. But I just right now, off game one feelings, I want to give the Kings a lot of credit, man. That was a young team I did not think can come out in a shootout with the Warriors 4-time champs and get a dub. So that right there showed me some grit, some grind. They're, I want to say better than I expected, but they got a little more of that toughness that I expected, man. Shout out to Fox, shout out to Monk. Those guys deserve a lot of credit. So I think tonight is a toss-up. I think the Kings really need this one because I don't see them going back to Chase Center and getting at least one. But the way they played in game one, man, anything's possible. So I want to just set this off from here, but giving the Kings some credit, man. I'm really impressed about that game one win. I still don't think they win the series, but just off the moment, man, shout out to them for that win in that game one. That's all I want to talk about. I still got the Warriors, but shout out to the Kings for winning game one. I want more out of Sabonis, but man, shout out to the Kings for winning game one. I still got the Warriors in like 5 or 6, but shout out to the Kings, man. Like the beat.
If you was in here,
shout out to the Kings.
Shout out to the Kings, man. Like the beam. Big key for them is gonna be size. I think you got to play. Sabonis is going to have to play bigger. They don't have that size that the Warriors do have, so that's going to be the key. But agree with you 100%.
The thing is there, Sabonis can't allow, and I love Draymond, great defender, defensive player of the year, a couple years. You cannot allow Draymond to X you out of the game. Sabonis is too good of a player to allow Draymond to X him out of the game, and that was the difference maker. Draymond completely took him out of the game. That can't happen.
He took him out of the game, and he still had 12 and 16. I mean, granted,
Exactly.
You're right. He can have a lot better game. He can, because you've seen it. He shot 5 of 17. We'll see if he can, and this is a young team. We'll see if they can, if they're having a bad game offensively. What do great players do? It's like the theme of the show. You talked about it. How can they affect the game differently? And look, we talked about lineup changes with Spo. Kerr is not outside of that. Okay, Kerr is not, because we've seen him. We've seen him in the finals with some lineup changes. So right now, Dante's starting. Who's to say that you see Wiggins come off the bench, because Wiggins was huge, or Poole, to start. I will not be surprised to see Kerr throw a curveball in there to see how the Kings react to that.
Yeah,
and it's not like if they needed it was a 3-point loss.
Yeah, it was a great game one. I love what y'all was saying on it. It's definitely, I can't wait for game 2 tonight. I cannot wait, man. All of y'all that was in here rocking with us, we appreciate it. Even those of y'all that stayed with this Nets Sixers game starting, Nets are up 15-9 right now. Can't wait to see what happens throughout this week, man. And with that being said, I don't know, Mike, K, y'all got anything else for the people before we get out of here?
Go ahead, K.
Nah, I ain't got nothing, man. I want to appreciate Mike, man. I appreciate you coming on. I know you got a lot going on right now, so I just want to show you your love, man. We appreciate you coming on, whenever you can make it.
I feel really appreciative of the fact that y'all still let me on here, man. I love chopping it up with you guys. You guys are great. Keep doing it. And like I said, from a distance, I'm keeping up, but I'm gonna definitely try to get back on schedule with y'all, because this is fun, man. Ain't nothing better than talking hoops with guys that know hoops.
Oh yeah. So with that being said, man, we'll catch y'all on next week's show. A lot of playoff action going on. It's Rich, it's Kayson, and it's Mike, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.